Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Yield, and
Hello, everyone. Whitley is here.
we are doing this call from our Global Campaign Center in Bonn, Germany. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Yield, and
Hello.
the YouTube link just popped up on my screen. Apologies for that. No, we are very excited to update you today about the Handover Event, the Global Day of Action, as well as the offline My World voting, since we had quite a lot of requests coming in with questions and things that were unclear so far. So we will cover that during this this brief call. We try to keep it as short as possible in order not to waste anyone's time. So let me start with now sharing more information about the Global Day of Action. I'm going to share my screen. Yes, what am I sharing? Have I shared the right thing? Stop. Okay, 1 second. I'm not sure why I have this problem. Oh, YouTube link, of course. 1 second. Okay, here we go again. Yes, perfect. Okay, so now you can see the application window. Let me make it big, full screen. Okay, so this is the toolkit for the Global Day of Action that we had promised to send to you a long time ago. Unfortunately, it took a bit more time, but we are now ready to share it with you. So during this call, I will now walk you through the guidebook, the toolkit, and then later on, it will be great if you can, we will send it to you also, I mean by PDF, so you can take it forward. So the Global Day of Action is taking place on the 25th of September 2018. And basically, it's the 3rd anniversary of the Agenda 2030. So what we recommend you to do with your handover event is that you actually have it be taking place on the 25th of September. But in case, for whatever reason, you want to hold your handover event earlier, either in August or early in September, that is also totally fine. However, we would still recommend you to register for the Global Day, even if the action took place earlier, just for the sake that you become part of this global network then, and all your information and data will be part of the global effort. So here's a brief introduction and the toolkits. You see it's quite extensive, 19 pages, so it provides you with a lot of information, and I will go through it quickly. First page is introduction about the SDGs. By now, all of you are experts in the Sustainable Development Goals, so you can skip this page and basically go straight to this page. So this page explains what is the Global Day of Action. So it's happening on the 25th of September, the SDGs were adopted, and now we are holding our governments and everyone accounted. So here you have a bit of the why is it important that we have to build up this momentum. This is how. On the 25th of September, we have a live studio at the United Nations headquarters in New York. And from there on, we will showcase the actions and switch to live events that are happening all around the world. So if you register, we will also be able to live stream your event in wherever you are in the ASEAN region. Everyone is able to join, but especially for you as already being ASEAN My World advocates, we would like to highlight your work and everything that you're doing. So while everyone can register for this Global Day, last year we had over 1,000 participants, reached out to over 84 million people, many actions. We really want to showcase and bring the attention to the work you are doing. So this is your chance to really be in the spotlights. Well, first step is how you can join. You can join by going to actforsdgs.org, and on there you will find a link to the registration form. We will also share that form with you later today via email. And then when you register the form, it basically takes you step by step. But it's important to read this toolkit first, because you can do a different of things. First of all, you can take an individual action on that day. So you can have a short messages, you can inspire other people to join you. But two of examples that I mentioned here is you can adapt your daily behavior. So for example, you can be a vegetarian for a day, or you can ride a bicycle instead of using a car on that day, to basically concretely contribute to sustainable development and the environment. So this is some individual actions you can do. The second part is you can become an action partner and you organize a public action or event. This is actually very much related to the handover event we require all of you to do. So when you go to the website, And you go to this link, register, you can fill out all of your things. And here are some ideas and suggestions on how to go about it. When you register, you also get the two logos, Action Partner, We Act for SDGs, and I Act for SDGs. So those logos you can also share with your other partners who are working on it, so you can all of you can use this. Now it comes down to planning your action. I think this is all important for you. Well, there are different actions you can take. You can focus on awareness, you can focus on accountability, and you can focus on impact. And we will showcase now a number of examples that you can use. The first one is focused on the awareness actions. This could be a public meeting at a library, a place of worship, or town hall with key experts or stakeholders from your community. You could go to a school and give a big lesson for an assembly, or you could do a campaign by radio, TV, movie, whatever it is. Some examples, inspiration. This happened in Mongolia last year. In Norway, they did a night track for the SDGs. In India, we had over 50 events taking place. One of them was a poster competition. And here in Zimbabwe, we have some student leaders who talk to hundreds of people at their campus. Here are some tools you can use, and these are some videos you can spread to showcase. Another option is you can do a social media campaign. Again, here are some examples listed. Then now comes the part, the accountability actions, and we would really like and recommend you to do something aligned with this. One of the things you can do is that you share your My World survey responses and you create a People Voices report to basically hand over your outcomes to leaders on the 25th of September. As you see here, see example report. This template will be uploaded later today as well. So when you click on this link, you will be able to access this report. Other option is you set up a voting booth in your community, school, or place, or workshop, or you do organize a public exhibit showcasing your My World votes as well as your Humans of My World stories and anything else related to the SDGs. So these are some examples of activities that you could do. Here are some photos and examples from what happened in India. Then there are also public actions and events. And again, there's a number of tips listed here and sample actions that have been happening. This is a press conference in Mali. This is something that happened in Nepal, in Malawi. So you see it's many different things that happened. And you can click here for more information. Last, we also have the impacts actions, which is at community or workplace. One is to make an SDG wheel. That's the symbol. So all around the world, people are going to make a big SDG wheel on the day. And how that looks is some examples are here. So this is during actually the Global Festival this year. These are some gatherings in Copenhagen. We have something in Germany here, Ireland. You see, so there are many different options to make that visual appeal. Well, we recommend you to amplify the message, of course, on social media, traditional media. This is the hashtags and the different things you use. We also have a Tanda Club, which we hope you will sign up to. And it's important to involve your local media. So I think this is in a brief overview, the toolkit. I think it's very important for you to, if you read through it step by step, you will get some inspiration for what you are going to do or organize. We have received reports from almost all of you, and many of you already have outlisted some handover events or activities you're going to do. And I think they are very much aligned with this. So if you have planned something else which is not mentioned in this toolkit, that's totally fine. We are very impressed by the work you're doing and the plans, and we just recommend you to continue doing that and working on that. But what we do recommend you is that regardless of what you're planning to do, is that you register your action on the website through this link. Because that way you become part of the global database, and we will be able to direct people to you. We will be able to share with our UN partners, as well as you'll be able to be featured in the live studio. Then there's another great news we can share is that I talked to our colleagues from the Bangkok Regional Office, and we have some small grants available for some of you. Unfortunately, we don't have funding for all of you, but we have some basic funds to allocate. So what we also going to discuss with you during the personal follow-up calls is that we need you to come with a strong proposal, a strong suggestion. And you could do that, for example, by registering yourself so we can access your page and read all about the event you have planned. And then based on that, we can try to accommodate all of you, but at least some of you will be able to receive that seed funding. And for that, I would also say some of you advocates, you're already working together in your same city or at the country level. And we really encourage that. And if you, all of the advocates, let's say from one country, work together on a specific event, we will be able to allocate you some funding for that as well. So that's on that note, but we'll explain more of it during the evaluation calls we have later. Also, the connections to the UNDP country teams have been made. I had a call with them this morning to speak to some of them online, some of them via email. We heard that in Vietnam, actually, things are already happening. Our advocates, they already met with the UNDP team last Friday, and they have offered support and going to work together more in the near future. So some exciting things are happening, and we are going to introduce you directly via email for the others. So that's another great progress. Again, it would be great that you at least have had a discussion with the advocates from your country when we make that introduction. Because in the case of the Vietnam, our two advocates, they met for the first time at the UNDP office. And in this case, it was totally fine and not a problem. But I can imagine in some cases it might look confusing for the UNDP team, our colleagues, if they meet 5 advocates who haven't heard of each other or are not aware of their work. So I think in order for them to support you best, it's really important that you get to know each other, what you're doing and how you're collaborating. So yeah, so that's on that. And of course, regardless, we are here to support you. We try to do our best to pull in more resources and support channels and all of that. And yeah, we're very excited that we have this good news to share. I'm following up with my colleagues directly after this call to see how we're going to implement this and move forward on this. But yeah, we're here to support you. So this is on the Global Day of Action Toolkit. So maybe 2 last things to say. One is we send it to you by PDF. Please study it carefully. Go through it step by step. Take your inspiration from it. You don't have to change anything if you already have plans. That's totally fine. If you have any questions regarding the toolkit after having studied it, you can ask them either now already, but you can also ask them during our evaluation call so that we make sure that we're all on the same page and everything is covered. With that having said, I will now make my colleague the presenter because she's going to showcase you how to do the offline voting step by step, because we heard that there are some questions related to that. So let me do one thing. 1, 2, 3. Yes. You can share your screen. Now you have to be on your screen. Yes. Now you have to go here. No. Stop sharing. Because you have now just shared your screen endlessly. This is your web browser? Oh, you're in this browser. Okay, wait. Okay, now you can click the links you want to show.
Okay, great. Thank you for the information regarding the Handover event. And now I will walk you through the offline voting. So as you can see on the screen, for some of you, it's more easier and it's more convenient to conduct offline voting. So how you gonna do it? You need to go to the website here, about.myworld2030.org/ASEAN and resources / so you can see the collect votes on paper. Just click on that. It will lead you to the page which have ASEAN My World survey in your local language. For example, I click on one. Yes.
I have no idea what language this is, but it looks like Cambodian to me.
So yeah, so you can have the survey in, I think it's in Khmer.
Yes.
Yes, Khmer. So you can just bring out the survey and hand out to people to do the survey. And what happened after you conduct the offline survey? It's better for us if you can transcribe the paper ballot into the Excel file, and you can find the template for the Excel file by clicking here. So as you can see on the screen, it's the template how the transcribed file will look like. So you need to transcribe from paper to the Excel sheet and send it to us. And now I'm gonna explain in more detail how you gonna do this. So I opened the Excel sheet already, and as the second tab, you can see here, data types. So it will give you a little bit of explanation how to transcribe from paper to Excel. So with the here star, so you can just fill in your time of conducting survey, like from you started on July, the 3rd of July, 2018, 3rd of July. So, and the end of the program, like something like, for example, 2018, 31, August 31.
Now easily you can drag it like this, so all the times you don't have to do it yourself, it just comes here.
Yeah. And submission day, it's just the day you send out the Excel sheet. So let's give it like 2018 on September, the 1st of September. And the method you conducting the survey, of course, here's all offline. Yes. And for this column, question ASEAN, you just go to the tab and it's gonna explain to you. Like for question 1 in the survey, it's gonna ask you, are you aware of the ASEAN community vision? So if the people say yes, it's only have 2 options, yes or no. So you just type in from paper, like, is this yes or no? And then question 1, they're gonna ask you, like, are you aware of the sustainable development goals? So if they answer yes, just say yes or no. It's up to the answer. And for question 2, they're gonna ask, like, please choose 6 priority area which you think is more important for you or your family. And in the survey, it will have 17 goals. So if they choose goal 1, you put it 1. If they don't do it, just leave it 0. And do like do it for every goal. If it's lead plan, just choose just try 0. And if the goal is chosen, just choose 1 in the Excel for 17th goal.
It's very important that you fill out a 0 or a 1 in each of the fields. So fill out a 1 if they have selected it. If they haven't selected it, then please fill out a 0. Because if you don't fill out it in the right format, then our system will count it as incorrect, and then it won't be uploaded and won't be part of the database.
Okay. And for question 3, in the survey, they're gonna ask, like, for the goals they have chosen is important to them. Is the situation getting worse, getting better, or is it stay the same? So in the top, you can see it's gonna explain here. They have 5 ranking for question 3. If 1 is equal, got worse, 2 in between 1 and 3, 3 is staying the same, 4 is in between 3 and 5 is getting better. So it's up to the answer you got. So you just choose the right number, like 1 or 2 or 3. It getting the same, and it's getting better, just 5 or 4 for the whole question 3, and only do it for the areas that they choose the respond corresponding with question 2.
Yeah, so it's very important that you don't put zeros here.
Yeah.
So for question 2, you have to put either a 0 or a 1, and all the fields need to be filled out. For question 3, you selected by question 2. Okay, so that's very important.
And yes, that's for question 3. And for gender, we have male, female, or other. So please fill in the column here with the information you got from the paper ballots, like male, female, or others. And age, yeah, how old is the people took the survey. And education level, we have education level. Just go to the explain tab. You can see we have 4 ranking for the education level. 1 is equal primary, 2 finish primary school, 3 finish secondary school, and 4 is beyond secondary school. So it's up to the answer. So you should trying 1, 2, 3, or 4 for the education level, and make sure you try it correctly. And for country, just try in the country where you conducting the survey, for example, Thailand or Cambodia, and city, like which city you conducted the survey in the paper ballot. It's up to you. It's up to the paper, yeah, the result you receive. And disability, do they have disability or not? So for this column, only yes or no. And for disability trial, you see from the example, they chosen 3 here. So let's see. In the sheet, they explain disability trial. They have 5 ranking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And depend on which disability they have, you choose a corresponding answer, like 1 is physical, 2 vision, 3 hearing, 4 is speaking, and 5 for other things. So make sure to try in the correct number for this. And partner ID, this one you just fill in your partner ID, which we already provided to you. For example, ADV for Cambodia, KSN1. And yeah, you just need to do one time and yeah, copy the whole thing like this.
Yeah, we see that now it doesn't work this way.
Now it doesn't work this way.
If you just put it one time, that's fine. Then we will make sure that it comes to all of it.
And you are the one who's sending us the email, so we know which this sheet is coming from you, and the user ID. You don't need to. Yeah, just leave it.
Okay, so it's very important, just to get back, so it's very important that you fill out the questions right, whether it's 1 or 0. Please really follow that format. And what we recommend you to do is that after you have transcribed, for example, 10 My World votes or 20, please send it through to us so that we can review it. So if we see that after this 20, no, everything is filled out perfectly, we will reply to you that please continue and the way you're doing it is correct. If we see a mistake, we will contact you and we will explain you how to adjust or improve it. Because what we want to avoid is that you're going to fill out 200 or 300 of those votes, and then in the end we find out that you have used the wrong format. So please, after having filled out 10 or 20, send it through to us so we can check with the system if you have done it correctly. And if so, we will let you know, green light, go ahead, and great job. If not, we will provide you the feedback. So this is really to avoid that you end up doing 200 or 300 and then we find out that something is wrong and you have to start all over. So for your own sake, please email us when you have 10 or 20 so that we can assist you in that process. Then I see a question from Newell. How long will it take to update the report once we send the email with the Excel? I would say 1 to 2 weeks. I will check with Guyan, our digital strategist, but normally it's 1 to 2 weeks. It could be faster, but it really depends a bit on our capacity. And I know that Guyan is having a week off in 2 weeks from now. So it depends a bit of the time when you send it in, but we will do our best to upload this as soon as possible.
And do they need to scan the paper ballot?
Okay, good question. So the question is, after you have transcribed it to the Excel file, do you still have to scan the paper ballot, let's say, for review post? No, there's no need. So once you have transcribed the paper ballot into Excel, we recommend you to put all the paper ballots you have transcribed in one pile and save them till at least the end of the program. Normally, we don't require you to scan them or send them to us. We just trust you and what you have filled out. However, we have a special system which automatically checks the Excel files and see if you not only have filled it out correctly, but also if you have been honest. So we have kind of a model that automatically detects if there has been, let's say, cheating going on. So if you let paste for 10 times and then you have 50, then the system will detect that. So of course, please be honest, fill it out correctly, what you have on paper and all of that. But in case there comes a message from the system which says like, hey, this collection or this format is marked as a question mark, then in that case we could reach out to you and ask you to send us the paper ballots. So that's why we're asking, please don't throw them away yet, please store them in a place at least till the end of the program. So in case something flags in our system, we can ask you to send us the paper ballots, and in that case we'll be able to cross-check. But I have to say that so far it only has happened in a few cases. Normally it works perfectly fine and everyone has been honest about going it and collecting the votes. Okay, thank you very much, Nan, for your question. You're saying that when you went to do the offline survey with one high school, the head of the school didn't allow you to do it. He asked me to wait after national election because of a hot political situation. So that's a very good question. So what we are working on with the ASEAN Secretariat is that we get an official letter from the ASEAN Secretariat in which they say that they have given us the mandate and you to conduct this survey, and that all the 10 ministers of foreign affairs from your countries have agreed on this and basically give you the mandate to do so. So we will provide you with this letter, so that will hopefully be able to explain to the people you're doing it that like, hey, I've gotten this mandate and it's has the government approval and the approval of the ASEAN Secretariat. Next to that, we also recommend you to print out the letter of appointment by the UN, which you can share with your the head of the school. And if that doesn't work, you can always also feel free to, for example, bring us in touch via email or organize a meeting in which we join via Skype. And then we are happy to inform and talk to the head of a school or director to say like, well, this is part of this official program, and outline all the different details. So we can do all those three things. So the first one is we are working on this official letter that you can have so that you can show that to head of schools or directors or partners. The second one is, if that doesn't work, feel free to introduce us via email, and then we will reply explaining all the questions and answering all the questions the head of school has, so that he knows it's a legitimate program and we have approval from government and all of that. And the third one is, if you want to set up a Skype meeting or Google Hangouts or whatever tool it is, when you are with this director, then we are happy to join in and have that. So that are three ways how we can overcome that for now. Of course, if he still then says, well, we prefer for it to be happened after a national election, which is maybe in 2 weeks or in a month, I'm not sure about the time, then you should follow that advice and say, okay, let's see if we can then work together in a month from now to make it happen. And if in the rare case that he say like, well, thank you for providing all this information and having the mandate, but still I prefer it not to be happening in my school, then that's something also that you have to accept and shake in my hand and say, well, thank you very much for talking to me. And it's a pity that the program won't be able to run in your place, because it's really about empowering citizens, empowering young people, educating them about the SDGs and giving them a voice. But nevertheless, I wish you all the best, and you're going to focus on a different school or a different network. So that's the piece of advice I would give you. But we are really here to help you. So yeah. Okay, great. Great question from Nurul now. She's trying to translate it, the survey, to her local language. We are going to showcase you now basically how that works. So you go to this, again, the About My World page, our ASEAN resources. Then let's see, can you close this file? We are seeing sometimes the screen is frozen. Can you stop screen sharing and try it again? Sorry, we're just trying to fix the issue. Yeah, stop, click. Stop. Okay. Maybe it's my computer. Okay, yeah, now you can share again. Yes, screen share. Yeah, this page, yes. Click. Okay, so we are back on now. You go to the about.myworld2030.org. Yes, then you go to support translations. You click there. Yes, now the text file is coming on. And basically, you have to provide the translation in this column. So you can add a tab here below, in which you add, for example, Chinese. You can go to Chinese. And here you see that the link left is in English. Here. And then on the right is the Chinese answer. So if you do it in the same format, so for example, you could copy the Chinese one and then change it in your language and then add that language file next to it. And if you send it then back to us, then we will be able to create it also on a paper ballot. Okay. Then is that clear, Newell? Adina, clear, or you need more explanation? And also, please feel free to reach out in this case to Ngui. She will be able to provide you with the file in case it doesn't work out. Okay, Nan, thank you for saying the election is 29th of July. So maybe you could indeed talk to the head of the school and ask if you could do it in, let's say, the first week of August. And then we can still do the other things, sending the email and all of that. Okay. Okay, great. Then my offline vote education level part. No, you can focus on anyone you want to interview. So we don't limit you with anything on the focus group. You can interview someone or have someone doing the My World survey who is 80 years old, and you can have someone doing it who is 5 years old, basically. But the education is just the level they have achieved at that point. So for the person who is 80 years old, it could be that that person only had primary school. So then you still only tick the box with primary school. It could be that she has gone to university, so then you tick another box. For the person who is 15 years old, it could be that they're doing secondary school, so then you pick the right box at that moment. Is that clear?
Please make sure that all the demographic information in the paper to be filled in, otherwise the vote will not be counted.
Yeah, so it's very important that when you get the paper ballots back, that they are completely filled out. So if some of the information is missing, for example, we show now on the screen, then all of the information won't count. That's how the database works. So for example, if the education part is not filled out, that means that then all the other answers are also not being taken care of in the database. So when you conduct the survey offline, make sure to explain to everyone in the room that they have to fill out each and every part of the survey. And if they have questions, then please assist them in explaining so that they can do it. So the demographic information on the left in the gray box, everything here needs to be filled out. Here, of course, they can only pick 6. If they have picked 7 or 5, the same thing, then we can finish the survey. And then the same is here for this box. Fill it only for the goals you have. Okay, great. I think that's the most important information from our side. So both on the Global Day of Action event and toolkit, as well as on the offline voting. Yes, the email part is optional. Good question, my mind. She asked, do we have to fill out the email part? No, the email part is optional. So if they have an email, please fill it out. If they don't have an email, that's fine as well. Yeah, so that one is optional. Great. Any other questions dealing with the offline voting format? Okay, if that's not the case, then let's go to the data now, the live data, just to see how we are doing so far. We're just showing you, yeah. Okay, we are just showing you now the live data so far, seeing the votes that have been coming in. You can see that some of you have already been very active. When you click on, for example, partner ID, you see some of you have already collected over 300 votes. Others are yet to start. That's not a problem. Congratulations to those who have been collecting already. And for those who haven't, no problem. It's very important also to first get your strategy right. And now you have the strategy to then start focusing on basically rolling out the strategy. Maybe an important thing to mention and pointed out by Nadine, my colleague from the office in Bangkok. She mentions that at the moment, if you look at the data, for example, you see that the majority of votes is female, actually 60.8%. And the male votes is only 37.7%, and then a small part for other. So what we recommend you is try to be inclusive. So try to have as many men as women and all of that. So when you do your voting collection, make sure that you try to get a good database. That's of course something. We see here, for example, also that you have targeted most of the votes come from young people. That's totally fine. You can focus on other target group, but we are totally happy with having a large group of young people there. And then this database will basically tell the story of what the priorities are of young people. And that's all about advocating also in the inclusion and the follow-up process as well. Okay, Nan is mentioning that he printed 2 pages, both Khmer and English, so voters can choose. I think that's a great way of actually of being inclusive, so that those who only speak the local language are able to fill it out in Khmer, and if they speak English, they can also use that language. So I think these are some of the strategies to go about it. So don't print only the English file, but also use your local language. And I think for that, I also really want to applaud Hadina, who's going to transfer it even in another language, the Bahasa Melayu, if I pronounce it correctly, to really make sure that we are as inclusive as possible. With that, I think we thank you very much for your time and all the questions coming in. That really helps us to prepare you and get the message out. And we are very excited to have our one-on-one conversations later this week and next week to follow up on your report and all the information you have sent to make sure that we all going to work this, and that in the end of September we can all be proud of what is achieved and see how we continue our conversation and partnership from there. So how would I say language in how do you say thank you in Vietnamese?
Cảm ơn.
Come on. Okay. Well, in Dutch it's bedankt, and in Swahili it's asante sana. Thank you very much, and we look forward to being in touch with you soon. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.